All right, time for another edition of Open Stage Reviews, Portland metro area. This is Taqueria Corona here on whatever this is, Main Street in Forest Grove. This is Thursdays from 6 to 10 with a sign up at 5:30. Format we know and love, kind of 3-song format, run by a guy named Dale. So some first impressions and some of the positives that stick out. So this place has got a ton of house instruments, almost enough to say a backline. The only reason I hesitate to say that is there's no guitar amp, though there is a bass and a bass amp. Most of a drum set, missing the kick drum and the rack tom, but also a cajon. So there's some opportunities to kind of either spontaneously kind of group together and sit in with each other, or to to just sort of get here and have some things in place to do something a little different, or to accommodate a more casual band that needs a few extras. The food is very good. So it's a full Mexican restaurant, and there's that's a positive. It is kind of a stepping stone in that they're kind of getting music going here, and it is in fact kind of, there are, as it was explained to me, there's some opportunities for people who play the open stage to get some kind of filler sets here and there. So this really is probably the most direct and most accessible stepping stone open stage that I can think of. If you are keen to play a longer set, you might well be able to finagle that through these means, and you talk to Dale, the host, about that. So it's a direct kind of stepping stone conversation and opportunity, if the particulars of which are kind of between you and Dale. Okay, so that said, there were some things that for me didn't work as well as I would have liked. First off, the sound on stage was a little bit odd, and the microphone situation was a little bit slapdash for me. I did not feel like the vocal mic was... I have to confess that maybe it's just a mic I'm not familiar with, but it sure struck me as more of an instrument mic. It's a kind of a large barrel mic that I'm used to seeing. It might be something like a floor tom or like a kick drum, and it kind of felt like that when I was looking for sensitivity out of that mic. It had a very short pattern and a lot of body, but not a lot of breath to it. Now, out in the audience, listening to the people, it didn't strike me as odd, but up on stage, myself as someone who plays a mic pretty extensively, it wasn't the instrument I wanted. So that's something to contend with a little bit. I think that Dale is very nice and very courteous and very welcoming, very friendly. The layout of the place is such that there's a lot of coming in and out of the stage. The stage is in a separate room, sort of a side room. So there's a lot of coming and going amongst the players as they go to place their order, go to get a drink at the bar, go to take a smoke, go to have a conversation. And so there was a little bit of an air of distraction to me. And I think maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit, but it wasn't, I think there was a missed opportunity for this to be a really supportive community, and at least tonight it kind of felt a little more like a community that was waiting for its own turn, but not paying as much attention to each other. So maybe that's just tonight, but I kind of got the feeling that there's some factors that lead it there, and there's some opportunities to host this in such a way as to kind of lead the charge to make a stronger community. I feel like there's a lot of regulars, and I feel like they kind of know each other, and I feel like there's a, this is a tight community just as a town. So I feel like it would be something that could be cultivated, and maybe tonight was an off night, but like I said, like that was my impression, is that there's an opportunity for this to be a little bit stronger community. And I'm not trying to knock on Dale, because I think he's really trying. Like, I'm impressed with the efforts he's making to lay down some roots of some really creative ideas about how to, like, basically make this be kind of the epicenter of a scene. And I think it's really admirable. So I would just add to it, like as I'm doing this review out here, half the players are out here on the street right now, warming up, or they're talking to each other. There's a handful of them having a smoke, and in my experience, like, the community that I want out of an open stage is the one in which the players are really very mindful about watching each other, being there for each other's sides. There was quite a lot of dive bombing. I was wrong about the start time. I guess they have added what they call an early bird hour. So I got here thinking I was in plenty of time to sign up, and in fact it had already started. I was an hour late, as it were. But there's probably five people who came, after 8:30 to do the late set. So it's a little bit unusual, and so that's either an opportunity or it's a missed opportunity, depending on how you look at it. I think that if you want a chance to play, this is really happening, and Dale's going to get you set up, and away you go. And there's going to be some house instruments if you want to be a little spontaneous about it. But as far as, like, where I would love to see this open stage grow a little bit is to really set the tone of supportiveness that I feel is lacking a little bit across the board, in terms of just, the example that the players are setting for each other is, so, like, people, there was a guy, another player was, like, talking and taking a phone call, and just, like, in the middle of me singing, and the same person, like, came up in the middle of someone else's set and was asking a question about the cajon. There was, someone who was with one of the players who just kept saying, play something we know, to everyone who got on stage. And that's something that could make, like, a novice feel uncomfortable. That's something that can make somebody who's not seasoned, it kind of almost feels like heckling when that happens. And that is something that, like it or not, a host has to be on top of. And I felt like, as I mentioned, there was this kind of cycle of being in and out of the room that led to a lot of kind of Wild West behavior, as it were. So anyway, I think I've gone on a little bit about that, and I don't want it to sound like I'm too negative, but mostly positive. A few things that I think are important to think about improving. But I still would recommend this. Like, I think this is an exciting one, and it's exciting that they're getting something started here, and I hope they have a good go of it. All right, so until next time, see you at the open stage.